All right, guys, Mr. Antonucci here, and in this video, we're going to talk about the derivative as a function as well as differentiability. So the first thing we'll do is define the derivative of a function. Now, before we define the derivative of a function f at the real number x equals c as the limit as x approaches c of f of x minus f of c all over x minus c, as long as that limit existed. We're going to call that form 1 because we're going to learn form 2. There is another way to define the derivative by letting x equal c plus h in rewriting the expression. So the f of x minus f of c over x minus c is going to become this. And then we can further simplify that by canceling the c's in the denominator. Now, since x equals c plus h, then as x approaches c in the limit from form 1, that's going to make h approach 0. So form 1 of the derivative with those changes becomes. So now we have an equivalent way to write form 1 for the derivative of f at the real number c. And before we move on, I just want to show you a little bit in Desmos of how this looks graphically. Here we have the situation where we have the graph in red and we have the secant line in black. It connects the point c comma f of c to another point h units away. So notice the point where we're trying to look at the tangent line is at c. The other second point is at c plus h. So the distance between these 2 points, if you subtract them, is just going to be h. So that corresponds to the change in x. The change in y is going to be the difference between f of c plus h and f of c. That's the numerator from that form 2. But notice, as I let h approach 0, I'm going to do it on the slider here, you're going to see that the point c plus h gets closer to c. Because if h gets closer to 0, then c plus h is going to approach just c. Notice that the slope of the secant line is starting to get close to the slope of the tangent line the closer h gets to 0. In other words, the secant and tangent lines are going to line up. Now, in this case, for f prime of c, c is any real number. So we can think of f prime as a function called the derivative function of f. And if we replace c with x, we get the following definition of the derivative function f prime. The derivative function f prime of a function f is f prime of x, and it's the limit of that difference quotient from form 2, provided that limit exists. If f has a derivative, then it's said to be differentiable. And we're going to refer to this as form 2. Now, here's our first example. We want to find the derivative of the function f of x equals x squared minus 5x at any real number using form 2. So if we write the form down, f prime of x equals, and then we plug those two functions in, f of x plus h, we would substitute x plus h into f of x anywhere there is an x. I'll show that up here quickly. So f of x plus h is going to be x plus h squared minus 5 times x plus h. And then we subtract f of x, which is x squared minus 5x, but we have to put that in parentheses because we're subtracting that whole quantity. The next thing we want to do is FOIL out, distribute, and simplify a little bit. So we would have, so what I did was I FOILed the x plus h squared, distributed the negative 5 to the x plus h, and distributed the negative to the quantity x squared minus 5x. And at this step, we can notice that some things cancel. These x squareds are going to cancel with one another. The 5x's will also cancel with one another. So if we just clean this up a little bit, this last step here, we notice that you have a factor of h in every term in the numerator, so we can factor that out. And that factor of h will cancel with the factor of h in the denominator. Now the limit becomes 2x plus h minus 5. And if we take the limit as h approaches 0, then we have the derivative function 2x minus 5. And that is equal to f prime of x. One important note is that the domain of f prime is the set of real numbers in the domain of f for which the limit in form 2 exists. So in other words, the domain of f prime has to be a subset for the domain of f. It could be equal to it, but it's not going to have any additional values other than what's already in the domain of f. Couple things when finding derivatives from form 1 and 2. When you're finding the derivative at a specific value c, we're going to typically use form 1. When you want to find the derivative function, you're going to typically use form 2. Let's take a look at another example. Here we want to differentiate f of x equals root x and determine the domain of f prime, and then we'll look at the graphs in Desmos. The domain of f is x such that x is greater than or equal to 0. We know that the derivative's domain is going to be a subset of that. To find the derivative, we're going to use form 2. In substituting the functions, we would have... Now for this limit, direct substitution is going to fail because you'd have 0 over 0, so we have to use a rationalizing technique where we multiply by the conjugate, so root x plus h plus root x over itself. And we're going to FOIL the numerator and leave the denominator. When you FOIL the conjugates, you would have the first term squared minus the last term squared, so x plus h minus x. The outer and inners are going to cancel. Also here, the x's will cancel because you're subtracting them, leaving just h in the numerator. Then you can see that the h's will cancel. And be careful here, there's still going to be a 1 in the numerator because h over h cancels to 1. Then if we take the limit as h approaches 0, this would just simplify to 1 over 2 square root x, which is the derivative function. So we could call that f prime of x. Now we'll look at what the graphs look like in Desmos. Here we have the graph of square root x. We can see that the domain is x greater than or equal to 0. If I graph the derivative as a function, 1 over 2 square root x, you could see it in green there. However, we can just type in f prime of x, and it will automatically graph the derivative there. If I turn this one off, you can see that the blue graph is the same as the green graph. So Desmos is very helpful in seeing graphically what the derivative would look like and confirming that your derivative function is in fact the derivative. The last thing we needed to do here was to find the domain of f prime, and that's going to be x such that x is just greater than 0. This function is undefined when x equals 0 because you'd be dividing by 0. Notice that the domain of the derivative function here, f prime, is a proper subset of the domain of the function f. So one of the things we need to know is how to interpret the derivative as a rate of change. So here we have the surface area S in square meters of a balloon that is expanding as a function of time t in seconds according to S of t equals 5t squared. And we want to find the rate of change of the surface area of the balloon with respect to time t and what are the units of S prime. So an interpretation of the derivative function S prime is the rate of change of S of t. We can use the limit definition here. S prime of t equals the limit. And then we plug in the functions. And then just like we did previously, we expand that and combine like terms. So what I did here was I FOILed the t plus h squared and distributed the 5. And then the 5t squareds are going to cancel. And then if you notice, the terms that are left each have a factor of h. So what I'll do is I will rewrite it with the h factored out. And then we'll cancel the h's. This simplifies to limit as h approaches 0, 10t plus 5h. Then if we let h approach 0, we have 10t, which is s prime of t. So since S prime of t is the limit of the quotient of a change in area divided by a change in time, the units of the rate of change are going to be square meters per second, and the rate of change of the surface area S of the balloon with respect to time is 10t meters squared per second. The next thing we want to talk about is how to graph the derivative function. So an important concept to understand is the connection between the graph of a function and the graph of its derivative. In this example here, we're going to find f prime for x cubed minus 1, then graph f and f prime on the same set of coordinate axes. So since we're trying to find the derivative of a function in terms of x, we're going to use form 2. So f prime of x. And then if we plug the functions in, then here we have to be careful because we have to cube the x plus h, then subtract 1, and then distribute the negative to the x cubed minus 1. And we can cancel the x cubed terms and the 1s. And then we notice that all the terms that remain have a factor of h. So what I'll do is I will clean that up and factor out the h. Then you can see that the factors of h cancel. Then if we take the limit as h approaches 0, these second and third terms both go to 0, and the limit ends up being 3x squared, and that is the derivative as a function. We'll hop over to Desmos and graph both of these. Okay, so here we have the graph of f in black and the derivative f prime. And we also want to just confirm that that's 3x squared. And we could see that Desmos automatically graphed it. We confirmed it with the derivative function we got. So here's some important connections between the graphs of f and f prime from the previous problem. So here we have a couple tangent lines to the graph of f. And one thing we want to look at is the tangent to the graph of f at 0, -1, this point right here. It's have a horizontal tangent, so its slope is 0. So f prime of 0 is going to be 0. So the graph of f prime down here contains the point 0, 0. Also notice that every line tangent to the graph of f has a non-negative slope. In other words, these slopes over here are positive, which is not negative. This one is 0, and these are also positive. So the range of the function f prime is always non-negative, greater than or equal to 0. And also notice that the slope of each tangent line to the graph of f is the y-coordinate of the corresponding point on the graph of the derivative f prime. So for example, at this point, -2, -9, the slope is 12. Well, if we go down to that point on the graph of the derivative, its y value is 12. Similarly, this point, slope is 3. On the derivative, the y value is 3. And this continues in like manner. With those ideas in mind, we can obtain a rough sketch of the derivative function f prime, even if we only know the graph of the function f. So in this example, we want to use the given graph of the function f to sketch the graph of the derivative f prime. So the tangent lines have already been drawn on there at several points. And one thing we can note is that the tangent line at this point and this point are both 0. So their slopes are 0. That means that the derivative at those 2 points are 0. So if we go down to the x value, where x is -2 on the graph of f prime down here, we know we could put a point at 0 for both of those. Now we can estimate the slope of the tangent line to the graph of f at other points. So for example, at the point -4, -3, the slope of the tangent line is positive and rather steep. So we'll just estimate it to be at about 6 right there. So that means at the x value -4, the corresponding y value way up at 6. And then we would continue that process in a like manner. So at the point 0, 0, it looks like the slope is probably about -2. So we would put a point down here at -2. And then at this point right here where x is 3, it looks like the slope is steep, but not quite as steep as the other point where the slope was 6. So we'll say that slope is about 3. So at the point 3, the derivative's value is 3. And then we would just connect those points with a smooth curve. A couple key takeaways that we want to know are that points where the tangent line is horizontal to the graph of f, the graph of the derivative f prime intersects the x-axis. The second thing is whenever the graph of f is increasing, the slopes of the tangent lines are positive. That is, f prime is positive, so the graph of f prime is above the x-axis. Third, whenever the graph of f is decreasing, the slopes of the tangent lines are negative. That is, f prime is negative. So the graph of f prime is below the x-axis. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Hope that was helpful to you. Reach out if you have any questions.